Episodes from a Life. Volume 1, Episode 25. Self-Portrait with Flames. Self-Portrait with Flames.
September 12th and many other days, too. They say the first one's free, but then, before you know it, you're addicted. And your life is reduced to a miserable cycle of hustle and reward. You become a Pavlovian dog, a worker.
No!
My own sad tale begins with mowing lawns and taking out the trash and babysitting. Then I moved on to the hard stuff. By 18, I had a pick in hand and I was trying to dig out a basement from solid rock. The next thing I knew, I was selling my body for research.
No.
I was naked in front of strangers in art schools. I was doing head modeling for $2 an hour, as if I could take my head off and do something else with my body. From there, it was just a never-ending hell ride from one low-paying job to another, desperately seeking ways and means to keep myself alive, housed, clothed, fed, drunk! But I kept my head high. I remained defiant. I made my personality stronger. I started demanding more rewards for the sale of my soul. I upped my wage slave market value. I worked as a driver for the Dundalk Marine Terminal, as a dishwasher for the Naval Academy, as a canvasser for Maryland Action and Clean Water Action in the Sierra Club, as a hardwood floor finisher, as an English and math teacher for the functionally illiterate, as a library worker, as a film repairer, as a guest lecturer at universities.
Damn.
As a book buyer and cashier, as a peep show mechanic, yes, editing peep shows, as a raspberry picker, as a wiring installer for a medical lab, as a bookstore owner, as an exhibit builder, as a printer, a typesetter, a video installation installer, as a museum exhibit technician, as an archivist, as a hot air balloon ground crew member.
No.
I've worked and struggled and barely survived. I've worked for the Maryland Science Center, the Andy Warhol Museum, the Heinz History Center, the Smithsonian, the Frick Fine Arts Museum, the Carnegie Museum of Art,
Fancy!
the Carnegie Natural History Museum, and now I'm at the top of my game. I've finally reached the point where, in exchange for the use of my skills, all these mega wealthy institutions can try to screw me out of health insurance to avoid compliance with the new Affordable Health Care Act.
Boo!
I've got so many skills I could work all those $250,000 a year museum directors under the table. Not that that would be hard, mind you. So, of course, now they want to cut my hours back, not to mention my pay, to less than 25 hours a week maximum so that I can feel those thrills again of being a starving human skeleton like I was in my early 20s. Thank you, Museum World, for setting the standards of human caring that we all know you represent. Lordy, it's great to be a worker.
I'll go put this back in my house.
Okay, we'll do.
And can I? Oh, I'll take it.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed my speech.
I like sharing all of your jobs that you had.
Yeah, I thought that would be
Thanks.
impressive.
camera! At the last place we were at, they had a thing like a bin or a thing to put you. I think they just said throw them on the floor in this big pile when you finish with them. So then they reused the locks, you see. But I like keeping them. You know, they never said anything about throwing them down before, you know, at other centre parks. So. Got a red one and a green one. Oh, no, I've got more. I might have 4. I've got a black one and a pink purple one. Just on a cycle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Busy in there.
Yeah, it's really busy. They're all just staring at cabbages.
The nature in there and how much you put it.
They're all like stood round looking at cauliflowers and stuff like that.
Cauliflowers. Yeah.
It's that balloon thing.
Right.
Really?
Right.
What's that? Ah, get it?
You want it?
Probably some little kids.
What do you want?
What was it meant to be? Daffy Duck? No. Oh, we could have used it. I could have held it for ransom or something.
Who gave you permission?
Hank, I have to get back. Try intercourse. 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 Oh, I was trying this. Down. Hysterectomy and stuff. Hank, I have to get back. I couldn't find a trace of sperm now.
Goes by the name of Shasta?
Who's gone missing?
That's her.
Yeah. She was in love with him. Deeply in love.
Oh, Shasta and Doc lived together first for a while.
Oh. Bummer. As someone who's been down this particular exit ramp, you can only cruise the boulevards of regret so far. You gotta get back up on the freeway again. What?
Go on, I'm deleting. We're gonna delete it. I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna delete it. Okay, I'm gonna delete it. Okay.
I'm actually in a movie right now. You aren't, but I am. So you need to actually watch what I do. Everything's just so crazy right now. And you need to realise that it's all for you, baby.
Underground cinema has the potential to have, you know, underground cinema is like punk or indie music. It has that potential.
Fucking disgrace. Big mistake. Big mistake. Big mistake.
Underground cinema is DIY and it is homemade.
It doesn't make any sense. They haven't evaluated the performance of the UK Film Council. They haven't evaluated the effect that it's going to have, the knock-on effect in terms of jobs, and the knock-on effect it's going to have in terms of the culture in this country.
The loss of the UK Film Council, you know, even that was independent to some extent, but like we really had to like fill those gaps with just getting the camera and going out there and doing it basically.
Obviously it's shit. I know we all think it's horrible because we're having things taken away from us. But I also think that it's good because not because of the principle of why it was taken away from us, for the reasons it was taken away from us, but it gives us something to fight for again. And it gives us something to be passionate about.
Two little boys, what the fucking hell is going on?
Right passage. If you haven't been an independent filmmaker, if you haven't started from zero, spent your own money, made something badly, fucked it up, you know, screened it, everyone's hated it, you know, made something else, done it a little bit better. If you haven't gone through that, then you're not a filmmaker, are you?
I think that underground, contentious though the term is, I think that we make the real films. The mainstream makes films for people that buy cornflakes.
It was you who consigned the underground to 20 years of drivel. We've had enough, so fuck off.
I think that we're living in a great time where the means to make films are so cheap that, you know, it's easy. We don't actually necessarily have to go into the industry to be able to make feature films. This is really liberating, and it means that things are changing, and sometimes, you know, change takes a certain time to happen. Things at the moment are already changing, and we're going to end up with something different to just the industry.
There's nothing left but to break copyright, occupy the colleges, disrupt the media, hijack technology. No budget necessary.
What people forget is all the movies that people celebrate now from 30 years ago. At the time, a lot of people just didn't get them or dismissed them, and, you know, like, didn't know how to read them or understand. They felt like they were too slow or that they were too strange, and now they've just become accepted parts of, like, the canon, you know, like all the stuff that gets put out on DVD from the BFI or whatever, you know. At some point, the BFI were rejecting these filmmakers from funding, and now they're putting them out on DVD.
That's what it is! That's what it is! That's what it is!
I suppose the underground is something that proliferates in spaces where you don't expect to see it. This is what it was all about. And this kind of DIY, not knowing exactly what you're doing, putting things together, hacking things together is what's exciting about it.
This boy hired the venue, because we hired the venue as well, to show. He made a film about skaters, and he wanted to, you know, do an evening projecting it and showing it to people. So he and 400 or so skaters rocked up, and they just like created absolute havoc and mayhem, and were pissing on people's doors, breaking bottles everywhere, climbing on cars. The police were called. It wasn't good at all, actually. We're not into that kind of thing, you see. It was founded by Roger Burton in 1993, who's a costume designer, but he also designed shops for Vivienne Westwood and Malcolm McLaren. First exhibition he put on was a show called Vive le Punk, which was an exhibition of early Westwood and McLaren designs. So very early on, I think Roger was interested in looking at, you know, kind of counterculture and outside visionary art, things that were really kind of outside of what you'd see represented in London. I'd like to see culture move away from big cities, but become more kind of self-led again, you know, in the way that it was. But it doesn't have to happen in London, it can happen anywhere, really.
Let me tell you, our Facebook group is on fire today. Everyone is making their own Pink 8 movies. So this is really Fabrizio then, right? Anyone that listened to the show last week, we talked a lot about Fabrizio. He's a filmmaker from the UK. It's his first film, like Pregnant, and like I said, I only got through maybe, you know, the first 20 minutes of it.
Well, you didn't even know nice to me now, but you haven't been nice to me all week.
Wait,
hold on. I'm being fake.
The point.
Fuck you, fucking fake.
The point is,
I would love to know what you think a smart question is then.
Well, no one's seen the film. I mean, that's how lazy you guys are.
Okay, last question, and then we'll let you go.
Have you guys not watched? You guys have not even watched the film. That's how lazy you guys are.
Underground filmmakers are exploring the poetic aspect of cinema.
Our next guest says that constant use of the internet, the Blackberries, those video games, is not only altering our lives, but it's altering our brains. Oh my God, what do you mean?
Great, so I messaged Fabrizio and said to him, like, well in for doing this, and but then I thought I'm just going to make a Pink 8 film, and I asked him, like, is it okay if I do this, and he's like, yeah, go ahead, like, go for it. So I phoned him up during the process of the film and just spoke to him, and yeah, he's a very he did this interview once where he was wearing a fur coat and called himself the King of the Underground. Yes. And if you didn't think you'd swear he was making this character up. But after like speaking to him and I interviewed him for a podcast as well. After speaking to him for like a good few hours, I was like, yeah, this guy's real. Biggest pet peeve about mainstream cinema is probably how easy it's made it for people to just gloss over and dismiss the images that they're seeing. Andrew Bujalski said something really poignant once. He said that when cinema first started out, it was the sheer novelty of image that people were attracted to. So like workers leaving a factory or a train pulling in at a station, it was the fact that people were seeing these images represented, these images of fairly banal things. People were aware that these were one-off instances that they were seeing, and now we're so overawed by image. We see it all the time with with social media and with 24-hour news, and you just can't get away from it, that when you turn on your TV, so often the first instinct and the first reaction you have is, oh, I've seen this already, this is just this. And it's kind of creepy how every image you see, and for some reason it's got to the point where that uniqueness and individuality and singularity has become banal.
This is what a kid on Tumblr told me. I could never ever describe my photography until this kid messaged me, and he said to me, I don't know how to describe your work, but if I could describe your work, I'd call it a professional Kodak moment. And I always like to say that I'd like my films and my photography to be like a professional Kodak moment, which to me means that I capture moments nobody else can capture, but not specifically in a professional way, but just in a way nobody else can.
Forever is only a thing Paris understands, with its day-old bread and cold café, the lights stay on till morning. I own the night,
Like the university promised me before, I'd probably be accepted. I applied again and I got declined again. And so from that moment till today, I've always not had a hatred for university, but I've done it without it, and I feel like a lot of people are going into debt and a lot of people are getting stuck in a system that they don't need to be, when they could just be focused and really get on set and learn from people who've already gone through that whole process like I have.
part of me. Everything I do is a song for you. You are in bloom, did you know that? You are in bloom. Your whole
Rocky and I did 3 days before we shot LSD, and he's a super creative. He's one of the most creative people I've ever worked with, and he called me 3 days before we shot LSD, and he's like, I'm going to Japan in 3 days to do an appearance at this party, and he's like, do you think we could shoot a video? And on the phone, because I shot a video for him before that's not been released yet, I was like, yeah, of course we can do it, because to me this was the biggest opportunity I've had yet. And then I put the phone down and I was like, how the fuck am I going to do this video? Like, I've never shot a video this big in another country and in 3 days. I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to make this happen, but it was one of my favorite songs he's played to me off his last album he released, and I was like, I have to do this video.
Our ideas come from dreams, and I sort of suffer from these like visions sometimes, where I kind of have these sort of involuntary visions that come on me, and I kind of get quite sick, and often these end up like turning into stories or scripts and things.
I think also people have difficulty accepting things that they can't necessarily categorize, or they don't know how to read. But it's like, you know, this is the kind of films that particularly exciting me most. It's films that I get lost and I don't understand, and I want to go in and investigate, and I feel like it's a completely new experience. You know, this is the cinema that excites me.
basically just wanted to put on a film festival that we would want to go to.
Yeah.
So we just, found all of this stuff that we were genuinely excited by. We didn't show anything unless we could stand by it and say, I personally really like this movie.
Yeah.
So that hopefully our passion for these films that we found would translate to the people watching them.
Yeah.
The guy who was running the festival, we got to know him a little bit, and he decided he didn't want to run it anymore, and he sent us an email saying, hey, would you like to run this film festival? and we said, why not? Okay, we'll give it a go. And we worked out how to do it as we went.